This book, Personal, is 300 or 400 pages of total testosterone. It's full of slow building tension. There's action. And when I talk about action, I mean total carnage. It is really great. In this one, Reacher is going after a guy he had arrested 15 or 16 years before, who's turns out to be a super sniper, and he's apparently on the hunt for major world leaders. And of course, the United States is concerned that he's after the president. Now, the book is set mostly in London, and it's a typical Lee Child, Jack Reacher story. It is just great. Now, Reacher, talk about him for a minute. He's a lot like Joe Pike in the Elvis Cole books, like Nate Romanowski in the Joe Pickett books. Like both of them, he's ex-military. Of course, in his case, he's a former Army MP or CID, whatever he was in the Army. The thing that's different about him is that he's really smart. He's got a collection of really kind of unique pieces of information about cities and people and so on. He's super calculating. You know, if you've read any Jack Reacher books, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that makes him, I think, a little bit different from Joe Pike and Nate Romanowski. Anyway, just a great, great book. And what I did with this one was I listened to it. And, you know, it's read by Dick Hill, who did all the Jack Reacher books. And Dick Hill, he is spectacular in terms of reading a book to you. Now, the other one that I want to talk about was not one that I listened to. This was bedtime reading, Death at the Bar by Ngaio Marsh. And I've got to admit that I'm really of two minds about Ngaio Marsh. Now, this book, Death at the Bar, it concerns a murder that takes place in a little village in someplace in England, or Devon in England. A guy, a barrister, is hit with a dart, and he's apparently poisoned, and her main guy, this Inspector Allain from someplace in Scotland Yard, is sent to this little village to, you know, solve the crime. Now, it's got a murder, but really not very much action. It's a lot different from the Lee Child books. The other thing that's different about it is that this Inspector Allain is at the far end of the testosterone spectrum, more or less at the melon ball end of that spectrum. He's an Oxford graduate, and you know, he's a clever guy, but he kind of talks like somebody would talk in a 1930s romantic melodrama movie. Now, when I'm on dialect, this is where I get a little confused about Ngaio Marsh. I like her mysteries. I like the clever red herrings and all the rest of the stuff that she throws in there, just like Agatha Christie. But the way she does dialogue is kind of puts you off. In this one, all the people in this little town of Oddicombe, or Oddicombe, however you say it, in Devon, they're speaking in some kind of a local dialect that a lot of it just went right by me. I had no way of interpreting it. And Roger Allain, on the other hand, he's talking by like a kind of a overeducated Oxford fop, I suppose. But, and that's what leaves me with of two minds with Ngaio Marsh. But I'll probably continue reading them. I need something to read to put me to sleep before I go to bed. And she's so far filling the bill, just like Agatha Christie, just like P.D. James. But she, like I say, because of the way she does dialogue, she requires somewhat more attention than I have to give those other people. Anyway, that's it for this week. A little doubleheader. Lee Child, Ngaio Marsh. See you next week.